Hello everyone, how are you guys doing? This is just an impromptu live that I felt like sharing with you guys. Some very important news. Today I want to talk to you about the ancient Hopi prophecy of called Star Red Kachina. And this is a very potent prophecy that speaks about the end of times. It speaks about the pole shift. And I believe that currently we're already in this time. Currently, there are a lot of scientific markers that tell us that we are already entering the time of this prophecy known as Star Red Kachina. And this is something that all of us need to be aware of. This is something that's going to affect the whole world. And there's a lot of scientific evidence. There are a lot of markers that are showing us that great changes are already coming upon our planet, and we need to be prepared for this. So I've been connecting with my guides, with my team of guides who are the Council of 12. They are also known as the Council of Elders. They come in when there are some very potent announcements that all of humanity needs to be aware of. And for the last couple of days, and actually for the last couple of weeks, they've been flashing signs in front of my eyes from all different directions. And at first, I was seeing all of these images of this red star appearing in the skies. There's many groups on Facebook. There's many groups all over the world of light workers who are literally reporting footage with their iPhones, and they're showing a new red star appearing just before our sun. It kind of looks like the sun is yellow and there's a red star right next to it. And I'm gonna repost this video on our YouTube channel, which is Eldora and Siman. And when I repost this video, my intention is to also add some of these clips of the footage that you can see for yourself, not from me, but from many thousands of people all across the globe who have witnessed these signs of the red star appearing in the sky. So there are many theories about this red star. And when my guide started flashing this idea of this prophecy, they said, look up the prophecy of the Hopi, prophecy of the Star Red Kachina. And when I looked it up, my mind was boggled because the prophecy brought everything together that I've been witnessing myself, and many people have been witnessing. So I'm going to talk about that shortly. I want to welcome you all. Thank you for joining us. Gia, Wilson, Kira. We're going to wait for a few moments to allow people to join in. And while we wait, I wanted to remind you all that this is a very potent month at the New Earth Mystery School. We're hosting on this Thursday, actually, Thursday, June 29th, we're going to be hosting a New Earth Mystery School event called J-Seal and Implant Removal. So as you may be aware, Eldora and I have been, we're specialists in implant removals, entity removals, and we started off like a decade ago by giving one-on-one healings to people, but because of the expansion, because of the growth in our community, we no longer offer one-on-one healings, but our intention is to bring these healings to groups and masses, because entity removal is something that affects all of us, whether you've been on your spiritual path for many years, whether you're new to your spiritual path. We are prone to be affected by negative entities, and this usually happens when we astral travel to the lower fourth dimensional fields at night. So when we're in our dream state, but we're not setting the proper protection grids that allow us to go to the higher dimensions, which are more angelic in nature. Some of us get trapped in the lower dimensions during our sleep time, where we accumulate a lot of negative entities. So preparing for the upcoming shift, one of the most potent ways to prepare for the upcoming shift is to help get rid of these entities and bring awareness, not just to do it for you, but we also want to bring awareness through this upcoming event of how to prevent, how to take preventative measures that allow you to keep your vibration high and protect yourself from these negative beings, which are very common And I'm going to talk about that in this video as well. But you can check out our website called www.eldoraandsiman.love, and you'll find all the details. Just scroll down and you'll look for the event called the J-Seal and Entity Removal. And what else? You just need to sign up to be, we kept it super reasonable. We kept it $44 with our silver membership, which you can sign up for. And you receive one event a month. And if you go to gold membership, you can get 2 events a month. And we have a very powerful gold event coming up on the 777 portal, which is July 7th, 2023. It's just coming up around the corner. And that is going to be Step into Your Higher Self. And it's actually a merger with the higher self kind of event where we guide you how to be one with your higher self, how to merge with your higher self, and how to access more of your higher consciousness. So you can think of it like a graduation. You can think of it like stepping into a newer version of yourself. And many of us are going through this so-called spiritual graduation this year. And if you would like to learn more, all the details are on our website as well, eldoraandsiman.love. So having gotten all the important information out of the way, I'm going to jump right into our main topic. What is the Hopi prophecy of the blue star Red Kachina? So first of all, the Hopi are an ancient civilization. They're the survivors of Atlantis. And the Hopi are, many have said that the Hopi tribes of the indigenous tribes of planet Earth are descendants of the Pleiadians. So they're a group soul that came from the Pleiades, and they are still connected to all the ways of the indigenous ways of the earth. They're very connected to our planet, and they have been holding the light frequency on our planet for many years, for thousands of years. So approximately 12,000 years ago, our planet fell in consciousness because of a great destruction that took place. And this destruction was also because of a pole shift that took place. And the pole shift is exactly what the whole topic of this video is. I believe that their prophecy called the blue star Red Kachina is talking about the pole shift, and this pole shift, according to my guidance, is already underway. So these Hopi tribes have lived in Arizona, in the Three Mesas Desert area of Arizona, and they believe that Earth is our mother, which all light workers also resonate with, and they believe that the sun is our father. The sun provides for us, and the earth is our nurturer. And they believe that our civilization is the 6th time that Earth has been destroyed and repopulated. So we are currently, since 2012, entering a period of time known as the time of the sixth sun, which means that 5 times before, in the times of Atlantis, in the times of Lemuria, that our planet has been completely destroyed and rebuilt. And we are going into the 5th destruction phase of this planet, and it's kind of like a restructuring of society, not like a complete destruction. A complete destruction would be cataclysmic, which means no life would exist on the planet after that. But this is more of a restructuring. So it's very important to not go into fear with all of these terms and realize that we are going through a major restructuring of our society, and we're going to come out of this. We're going to come out of this more enlightened, more aware, and more conscious. And the Hopi prophecy is that it describes that there are 9 universes or 9 dimensions. So the Pleiadians have been speaking with the Hopi for many thousands of years, and most of the Hopi prophecies come from the Pleiadians. So the Pleiadians are kind of like our spiritual guides who come here to guide us from afar. They can kind of like guide us through these prophecies, but they are not allowed by galactic law to intervene in our progress in any way, because this is a jump in consciousness. This is a time when we go from a lower vibrational state to a higher vibrational state. And we are indeed going into this jump in consciousness right now, and there are some steps that we need to be aware of in order to prepare for this. So the Hopi prophecy specifies that towards the end of days, we will start seeing a red star known as the Red Star Kachina or Red Star Kachina, and it will completely restructure our society. And some of the signs that they talk about during this time is that all life on the surface planet will drop in vibration and fear will be very high. And that's something we're all experiencing right now. And I'm going to explain why we're experiencing all of this. Another sign, they say that after this red star comes and restructures our society, which I believe is imminent, which I believe is taking place by August 8th, 2024, which is the 888 portal. After that, there will be a period of readjustment. So we will first see the signs of the red star appearing in the sky, and then by, I believe, 2033, we will see a being known, this is, I'm speaking verbatim, word for word, what the prophecy is stating, and then I'm going to explain my own guidance, which supports this prophecy. So after this restructuring of society, we will see a being appear in the skies known as the true white brother. And the true white brother, in my interpretation, is the Great White Brotherhood. The Great White Brotherhood is an order, it's an ancient order in the higher realms, and it consists of all of the ascended masters who are guiding humanity. So the Hopi prophecy says that the true white brother will then come to judge the survivors. So this is like an old way of interpreting things. I don't think there's any judgment. I don't think there's any angry ascended master saying you've made it or you haven't. But the judgment, in my opinion, happens within all of us by ourselves. So the judgment is more about how much of your fear have you healed? How much of your higher self have you integrated? How much of your life have you harmonized with the natural order of Earth? So if we take sufficient steps right now, from now until 2033, and that's a lot of time to make changes in your life. And many people, when I say that I feel that the final shift into the fifth dimension will occur in 2033, sometimes people get impatient and they say, why not now? Why, I think it's going to happen next year. And trust me, my response to that is, you don't want the solar flash, you don't want all of these changes to happen soon, because humanity needs a lot of time to prepare for these changes. So if we prepare for these changes, if we raise our vibration, if we raise our frequency enough, and if we live in harmony and balance with the ways of the earth, then we will make the shift in consciousness. But there will be a huge amount of the population that is in resistance to these changes, and they are going on about their old ways of destruction, their old ways of not taking responsibility for their actions, and living in disharmony with our planet, which causes a lot of chaos. And those ways are ending. So this is what is meant by the Hopi prophecy, that the true white brother will come to judge the survivors. So it's really ourselves judging ourselves. Some of the other markers of this prophecy are that there will be many climate and weather changes. There will be fires, which we are seeing all over the world right now. If you look at the map, there's like major fires happening all over the world. There will be volcanoes, there will be floods. So all of this is already happening. Many volcanoes have erupted recently. One of the most recent volcano that erupted was the volcano that symbolizes the energy of the goddess or mother or divine mother. So all of these volcanoes erupting are actually anchoring frequencies from the higher dimensions into our planet. So it's not If you look at it with your logical 3D mind, you will just think that these fires and volcanoes are just mindless chaos and they don't mean anything, and you just go into fear. But when you look with your spiritual eyes, everything has a meaning. And Earth is not just creating havoc or natural disasters for no reason at all. The reason these natural disasters are happening are because the consciousness of this planet needs to shift. And for the consciousness of this planet to shift, humanity has to get a grand wake-up call. So all of these Earth changes that are currently taking place, this is humanity, this is Earth reminding us that we need to pay attention. And it is also Earth opening up ancient nodes and knolls. The nodes and knolls are kind of like vortices that connect specific geographical locations of our planet to the higher dimensions. So all of these volcanoes erupting are actually anchoring higher dimensional energy by shifting the electromagnetic spectrum of the Earth. And as you know, lava is kind of like the blood of the Earth. So when lava erupts out, there are frequential changes that result out of that. Another symbol that we need to pay attention to is that strange signs will appear all over the planet, which prophesies the coming changes. So when I think of strange symbols appearing all over the planet, when we look at that prophecy, what does that mean? To me, it means crop circles, strange symbols. So there are many, many, many crop circles that are happening. There are many UFO sites that are being documented. Even the government is now very close to disclosure. They've been talking about, the governments have pretty much acknowledged the existence of strange objects in the sky. They call them UAPs or unidentified aircraft, something like that. But they're not outright saying it yet, but they are acknowledging that we're not alone in this universe, and that they have recorded such phenomenon. And these UFOs, the only place I differ from the official government theory or the government fear-mongering is that the official narrative in our mainstream media is there to scare people and say that these aliens are out there to abduct us and get us, and they're evil and they want to take over the planet, and that we should all go into fear. I believe that's far from the truth. I believe that we are indeed under the protection of a benevolent galactic organization known as the Galactic Federation of Worlds. And this is like a galactic police that kind of ensures a law and order. And currently, according to my knowledge, according to my guidance, our planet is surrounded by thousands of spaceships that are members of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. And these spaceships have been reported to be visible more and more recently. And they're also making themselves visible because they are here to remind humanity, hey, this is your wake-up call. You're not alone. It's not just about going to your 9-to-5 job. Things are about to change and you need to prepare. So those who pay attention to crop circles, I'll actually make another video. But crop circles are not just random images. You can actually decipher the hidden meaning in all of these crop circles. And many of these symbols can be deciphered to show that we are graduating as a consciousness. We are opening up our 12 strands of DNA. We are going higher in consciousness, and that we are due for some major changes on Earth, and we all need to be aware of what's going to happen. And I'm going to cover that in this video. Another sign of another marker that the ancient Hopi have prophesied is that land masses will be covered with water. So we can already see much of this happening. There's so much more reports of floods all over the world, and it is said that the ocean surface is rising because the ice caps are melting. So if the ice caps in the Arctic and Antarctic continents, if the ice caps completely melted, the ocean levels would rise approximately 20 meters, which means that most of the coastal cities will be underwater. So there's a lot of time for us to prepare for these changes. Many people are moving away from coastal cities into inland cities or higher altitudes. So these are all the markers. I'm just stating it as it is, and I hope this helps you in planning your next steps ahead. Another marker that the Hopi prophesied about this time since 2012, but I really feel that now, 2023, it's becoming really visible, these changes, is that there will be lawlessness in society. And we can also see lawlessness, we can also see a lot of emotional upheaval, we can already see so much more violence, we can see people losing their mind, people are becoming unstable, people are going into fear. So that's another marker that when we look around, we can see that there's so much more tension, there's so much more charge in our society. And that's all because of these coming changes. And I'm gonna connect you to some scientific and empirical evidence that shows why this is happening. There will be pollution all over the earth, and we can see that this is another Hopi sign of this prophecy, that there will be massive pollution all over the earth. We can see that in the chemtrails, which are polluting our skies. We can see literally, like, I'm gonna add a clip of the Guatemala River here. There's literally bodies of water are just floating with trash. There's so many oil spills have occurred that whole regions of the ocean have turned red, where ocean or marine life cannot survive. Millions of fish are dying and being washed ashore. So all of these are markers that the pole shift is occurring. And then finally, new colors will begin to appear in the skies. So recently, people have been reporting a lot of strange new colors, like rainbow colors, rainbow-colored clouds, and full spectrum rainbows, which are full circle rainbows, are becoming more and more visible. So all of these new and strange colors are also a precursor that we are entering the fourth dimension, and we are now merging the third and the fourth dimensions, which is what's taking place. So now that I've covered most of the Hopi prophecies of the signs that are already taking place, I'm going to cover some of the scientific evidence that shows us how this is happening and why this is happening. So scientists previously believed that the poles of the Earth, the North Pole and the South Pole, as you know, Earth's North Pole and South Pole is approximately tilted at a 12.5 degree angle. And scientists previously believed that this was the way it was for 100 million years, and that the pole is just stagnant and it never shifts. However, there's much empirical evidence that has come forward to change this belief in scientists. However, this information is not coming to the mainstream, because if the media or the news started broadcasting everywhere that the poles are about to shift, there will be absolute mayhem in society. So they're just keeping all of this empirical evidence undercover. But if you really do your research, if you really dig deep into the information, which scientists have, you will begin to uncover your own truth. And I have been researching this for more than a decade, and I invite you. This video is just an invitation for you to find your own truth. I'm just sharing my truth, which I have uncovered through my own research, but I don't recommend anyone take it word for word. I recommend that you take this information and do your own research and arrive at your own conclusion. And you will see that there's 1 billion people on Earth waking up right now. All of them are finding out their own facts and information, and many people are reaching the same conclusion. And what scientists begin to find out since the mid-90s is that they discovered that the previous pole shift has not occurred 100 million years ago, as was previously thought of, but it actually happened only 12,000 years ago, to 12,500 years ago, to be very accurate. And the way they reached this conclusion was they realized that whenever there's a pole shift, there's a lot of volcanic activity at that time. So they started looking at the previous volcanic activity of the eruptions that took place 12,500 years ago. So they went to old volcano fields, and with their research, with their instrument, they found that lava tends to turn hard, and lava is filled with iron fillings, and iron reacts in its spin to the magnetic fields of Earth. So what they found out that before this lava from the volcanic eruptions turns hard, it goes into a spin pattern, and that spin pattern actually corresponds to the magnetic pattern of the Earth at the time of the eruption. So when they looked at samples of lava from 12,500 years ago, they found out that the poles were completely reversed, which means that our current north was the South Pole, and the current south was the North Pole, not more than 12,500 years ago. And this is what's happening again. Our poles are completely going to be reversed again, and this may happen very soon. So when we actually have scientific instruments to carbon date all of these measurements, and we can pinpoint with these measurements exactly where the true magnetic north was 12,500 years ago. And not only did they discover that the poles shifted 12,500 years ago, but they also discovered that the poles have shifted millions of times in the last 100 million years, okay? So previously, the theory was that it never changes, but now more and more empirical data is proving that pole shifts are more common than we think, and that north and south are constantly switching like a sine curve. And in the ancient texts, if you look at the Bible and the Quran, the holy book known as the Quran, the Muslim book, actually states this out very plainly. And the Quran states that at the end of days, I'm just paraphrasing, not verbatim, but it prophesizes that at the end of days, the sun will rise from the west and set in the east. And when I was young and I was born Muslim, I'm not a Muslim any longer. I believe in God and spirituality and science. But when I was young and I was reading the Quran, I used to look at the meaning of every verse. I didn't just want to read mindlessly without knowing what anything meant. And when I looked at this prophecy of end of days and sun rising from the west, I was very confused. I was like, how the hell is that possible? How can the sun suddenly shift its direction and change its mind and start rising from the other side? And then when I, later on in my life, in my research, when I found out about this concept of the pole shift, then it all made sense, because if north becomes south, south becomes north, then east and west also change position, diametrically opposed. So that is exactly how the ancient texts have been telling us about the pole shifts. So the sun will rise from the west and set in the east. So now let's look at some of the triggers, some of the scientific triggers of what are the possible theories that the scientists have that will make this pole shift possible. So one of the most prominent theories of the pole shift is the melting of the ice caps. So scientists have been measuring the melting of the ice caps for decades now with their satellites and their equipments. They can actually measure the depth of the ice caps on the North and the South Pole. And what's happening currently is that there's underground rivers forming in the North and the South Pole, okay? And these underground rivers are melting the whole polar cap, and not just cracks in the polar cap, not just like small icebergs falling off like we see visibly, but what's happening is these underground rivers, because of the ocean warming up, the underground rivers are completely cutting off the polar ice cap, So an entire continent of the whole Arctic or Antarctic could suddenly break loose because of the melting from underneath. And if it breaks loose, it's literally like a floating continent, a floating mass of ice the size of a continent that's suddenly floating on top of the ocean. It has no anchor to the earth anymore as it does currently. So the scientists have theorized that if the ice cap suddenly goes off center and starts floating on its own because of the melting, it would literally move at 1700 miles per hour towards the equator, because the equator is where it would gravitate most naturally. And imagine what would happen if a whole continent, a whole iceberg the size of a continent moves at such a rapid speed towards the equator. The whole direction of the Earth's spin would change. Electromagnetic spin would change. Everything would change. It would cause great climate change. And this is something we had never dreamed of before, but this is something that may be happening. This is just one theory. It's not something that I'm saying will happen, but this is one of the most prominent theories of how the pole shift will occur. And another theory of the pole shift is that at the very center of the Earth, there's a solid rock. There's a solid rock. In spirituality, we call this rock the Earth Star Crystal. And this rock is made of liquid magma. It's made of liquid, kind of like, it's a rock. It's crystalline rock, and it's got oil in it. But the oil is solidified because of the electromagnetic spin of the Earth. And currently what's happening is, for the last 500 years, the electromagnetic spin of the magnetic field of the Earth has been weakening more and more and more. So the magnetic field of the Earth is literally, if you place a magnet on a piece of paper and you put iron filings around it and you tap the piece of paper, you'll see it form a magnetosphere. So Earth is itself a huge ball, and it's a magnet. And because of changes in the sun's radiation, because of gamma wave radiations coming from the great central sun, these are triggers to change the magnetic field of Earth. And because of the new energy coming in from the sun, the magnetosphere, or the magnetic field of this Earth, is weakening, which means that the iron ball that is in the middle of the Earth is suddenly losing its cohesiveness. It's losing its solidity. So if the iron ball loses its solidity, it'll become more like liquid oil. It'll become more like a liquid magma rather than solidified magma. And the moment that, if the whole magnetic field of the Earth collapses, this iron ball in the middle of the Earth will suddenly become like a tennis ball, which is hard on its outer shell, but it will become like liquid oil in the middle. And if it becomes liquid oil rather than solid, we would actually have complete shift in the orbital pattern of the Earth in relation to the sun. Now, the orbital pattern of the Earth is currently at 12.5 degrees. If the magnetic field collapses around the Earth, the whole pole will shift, and north becomes south, south becomes north, right? But this also, now I'm bringing in my guides, and the guides are chiming in and saying that the pole shift is not just dependent on the laws of physics. It is also dependent on the laws of spirituality, or the laws of one. And according to the law of one, we are all one unified consciousness field, which means Earth's, humanity's level of awareness and humanity's level of consciousness actually decides the magnetic field of Earth. Okay, so I'm trying to explain this. It's a little bit difficult to explain this particular concept, but I'm going to take my time and hope I get through. So Earth's magnetic field, will shift according to how much humanity raises or dips in consciousness. Okay, so just hold on to that for a moment. 12,500 years ago, when there was a pole shift or pole reversal on Earth, what happened was there was a drop in consciousness. So we were in times of Atlantis a very high consciousness. We were 12-strand DNA activated. We had all of our spiritual telepathic gifts and abilities. We were fully connected with our God consciousness, but we became corrupt. We became power hungry. We became control hungry. And because of this, the magnetic field collapsed. Our consciousness has a direct effect on the magnetic field of the Earth. So what the Council of 12 are explaining to us is that the entire upcoming pole shift also depends on how much we as a collective, we as a humanity, raise our level of awareness, how much we raise our level of consciousness. And according to my estimates, we have approximately a decade from now until 2033 to get our act together. And by this I mean the 888 portal, which is August 8th, 2024. 2024 is an 8th year. The 888 portal will be the beginning of the pole shift and the arrival of the star called the Red Kachina, which is going to cause all of these changes to take place. It's already visible in the skies, this Red Kachina star. But the arrival of the blue star will happen, according to my estimates, around the year 2033. So from 2024, August 8, which is 888, and August 8, 2033, which is another 888, we have approximately 1 decade, more like 9 years. But in this 9-year period, we have all the time we need to get our act together. And right now, humanity is awakening in droves. And everything that unfolds on the planet really depends on how much we start to become aware of our imbalances, how much we begin to take responsibility for the destruction and pollution of this planet. So our next steps, our micro changes within our life, how much we bring our own individual lives in balance, how much we learn to treat ourselves and each other with respect, how much we anchor God consciousness, how much we learn to forgive each other and learn to live with love rather than hatred. All of this will have an effect on what happens to this planet in the next decade, okay? So another example of how the magnetic field of the Earth affects the consciousness of this planet is the moon. This happens every month. If you look at the full moon, if you look at the exact dates of the full moon, and if you look at the empirical data from police logs, every single full moon, the full moon actually has a pull effect on the magnetic field of the Earth. So in a manner of speaking, whenever there's a full moon, the magnetic field of the Earth changes. And because of this change, people go a bit psychotic. So if you look at the police logs on every full moon, there's more murder, there's more rapes, there's more crimes, and there's more people losing their shit. Like, you'll even notice, like, if you're usually a peaceful person, but it's a full moon, you're more likely to react violently to your spouse or your children. So it happens on a micro level, but it happens on a large scale in our society as well. So this is just one piece of information that proves to us that the magnetic field of the Earth directly ties into how our emotional bodies get unstable. Because we think that we're just humans separate from Earth, but we are very, very connected to Earth. We're far from separate to Earth, because Earth has a magnetic field around her, but humans also on a micro level, we mimic the Earth. So we are also like a magnetic field. Our magnetic torus is all around us. It's called our auric field. It's generated by our electromagnetic spin. And our auric field is directly connected to the magnetic field of the Earth. So when the magnetic field of the Earth weakens or is pulled by the moon or it's pulled by the pole shift, it has a direct impact on our thoughts. It has a direct impact on our emotions. And right now, when we look at society, we're seeing more and more people going into violence. We're seeing more and more people losing their shit. More people are erupting with anger and whatnot. And this is just something that happens. And another thing that happens is that because I believe we're already seeing the signs of the pole shift. The magnetic field of the Earth has weakened significantly, and this is also going to cause a financial collapse all over the planet. And I believe this financial collapse is already, the dominoes have already started falling. I believe that there will be a complete restructuring of the financial economy over the next decade. How it will play out, I don't know. It all depends on how humanity responds, but this is already happening. All social systems break down, all financial systems break down, climate changes, earth changes, all of this will happen. And you will also get the sense of this dizziness because as all of these changes start to take place, we will begin to see that time speeds up. So this is another marker. You may have noticed that you have less time to do everything. You have less time to complete your tasks or go about your daily business. So all of these changes are already happening. Many people are feeling that time is moving forward. Psychologically, time is moving forward at a very rapid pace. And this will continue until 2033 or so, but we will also adapt because we are also evolving to match the frequency of new Earth. So how you perceive the coming decade, it doesn't have to be chaotic. It doesn't have to be mayhem. So the next part of the video, I'm going to give you some tangible tips on how you can prepare for these changes so they don't have to be chaotic. So we've already covered how the Earth's changes have a chaotic effect on our emotions and our mental bodies. So what our guides are saying is that we can prepare for these changes. We can prepare so that we don't get pulled into the chaos. And the way we prepare is by harmonizing our life into a life of peace, okay? So we have to realize that all of these changes are going to become more and more rapid until the point of no return. And it is said that in previous pole shifts, when scientists looked at the empirical data of how long it took for the poles to shift, it wasn't years, it wasn't months, it was actually hours. To be very exact, when they looked at all the evidence, the North and the South poles actually flipped within a period of 5 to 6 hours. So we won't have months or days or weeks. We'll literally, things will get faster and faster and faster and more chaotic until the flip happens, and literally within 5 hours, the whole world will have reversed. So I cannot say with 100% certainty that this is exactly how it will happen again, but I can tell you and I can share with you the scientific evidence of how it happened last time, and it happened very fast. So what can we do to prepare for these changes so that we're not caught in this chaos, and so that we are prepared and that we can up level with the Earth, okay? So this is reminding me of the statement that Jesus Christ made, Yeshua. He said, many are called, but few are chosen. And this is what usually happens. Around these times, what happens is that not everyone is prepared for this shift. Not everyone's going to make the jump. And what happens is that many are called, but few are chosen. And how are the people chosen for this shift? How is it determined who makes the jump to the next dimension and who doesn't? You have to decide. You by listening to all of the evidence around you, you by looking at the signs around you and saying, I cannot continue my life the way I used to, okay? So this preparing for this shift is all about you opening up your hearts, you opening up your mind and wanting real change in your life, okay? Many people say, I've been on the spiritual path and I've been doing my healing work for 20 years. But when you actually look at your life, walking the spiritual path doesn't mean that you hold a crystal every day and meditate. Walking the spiritual path means how much have you changed? How much have you actually shifted from within? That's the true marker of, are you evolving? That's the true marker of, are you moving? Excuse me. That's the true marker of, are you moving forward? Are you synchronizing with these earth changes? Are you aligning your life with more harmony? Are you removing toxic relationships from your life? Are you finding ways to be more joyful, to bring more joy into your life? If you're currently working in a job that makes you feel sick inside, are you making changes that align your life to something you love doing rather than what you're forced to do just to survive? So one of the major tips I can give you for this time is that the power of your mind will greatly amplify, and that's something very few people understand. The power of our mind will be able to draw things, events, relationships, jobs, opportunities towards you that your logical mind deems impossible, okay? So what happens during this pole shift is that certain people are here to herald the pole shift. Certain people who are here to display mastery during this time. Certain people who are here from ancient planets and ancient civilizations who've already gone through this pole shift. And these are the light workers like you and myself. We are the front runners of this evolution in consciousness that's taking place on our planet. And the reason we're front runners is because we have the remembrance of this pole shift from ancient times of Atlantis. Many people who are in a lower vibrational state, they don't remember who they are, they don't remember how to make the jump. So we came from higher dimensions as light workers to lead the way. And our guides are also reminding us that regardless of any prophecy, it's not going to be a scenario where millions of people die and there's mass chaos on Earth. In this period, the whole process is being slowed down to give opportunity, to give time of grace for humanity to make changes in their life so that they can make the shift. So the galactics are actually able to time things because they are fully in control of the timing of these pole shifts and the solar flash. So they're making it possible by giving us a grace period of the next decade until 2033. They're making it possible for as much of humanity to make the shift as possible. So in the ancient prophecies of the Hopi, it was said that 90% of the population would be extinct and only 10% or so will be the survivors, and those survivors are going to go into a higher unity consciousness and start a new civilization. But what my guidance is telling me, what I'm getting from the Council of 12, is that it's the opposite, that there'll be a minority, and the number I'm getting is like 30 to 40% of the population who are so mired in density, who are so stuck to the old ways of separation, war, and hatred, that only 30 to 40% of the population will choose not to change their ways, and they will not be able to survive the upcoming shift. But majority, that's the good news, majority of the population will make it. And what happens is that once this dimensional shift occurs within a period of 5 to 6 hours, the entire, the laws of physics of this planet change. And by that, what I mean is that there'll be a separation in the veils. So the third dimension, which we are in currently, and the fourth dimension, which is the higher octave up, both merge. And when the fourth dimension merges with the third dimension, what happens is that, one second, phone's ringing. When the third dimension merges with the fourth dimension, what happens is that our thoughts manifest very quickly. So in the third dimension, in current physical realm, what we think manifests maybe in a couple of months. Whether it's a negative thought or positive thought, it always manifests in your life. And because of the time lag, we don't realize that something that's happening in our life today, if it's a misfortunate event, is a result of some negative thought or action you took 3 months ago. We don't realize that, but that's happening all the time. It's just that there's a time lag. However, when the pole shift occurs, the whole magnetic veil of separation between the third and the fourth dimension collapses. And what that means is that the fourth dimension becomes manifest in the physical world. That's why they say you'll see many vibrant colors. You'll be able to manifest things instantly. So another way of preparing for the shift is to realize the power of your mind, because those who work on clearing their emotional fields, those who are doing the work of clearing their mental bodies and not going into the vibration of fear, those who are turning off their TV sets and going more inwards in meditation, people who are choosing to eat clean, people who are choosing to live in harmony and respect our planet, people who are doing land healing, people who are giving back, who are expressing gratitude for Mother Earth rather than always selfishly taking without acknowledging our Gaia, our planet, our beautiful planet that provides for us. So all of these spiritual changes actually help you become more clear inside. So there'll be two worlds. There'll be the people who are not aware of these inner changes, and there are people like us who are fully tuned into these messages and are saying, what can I do to live more harmoniously with the planet? What can I do to live a life of peace and balance, and how to bring more harmony into my own life? And such people, after the dimensional shift, after the separation of the veils collapse, such people will be thriving, because once we clear our emotional fields, once we clear our mental bodies, we'll be able to manifest whatever we desire at a very rapid pace, and that's what will help us survive. And my guides are telling me that this manifestation power will be accelerated to the extent that we can literally heal our own diseases. We can literally change our body. We can literally, if we want food on the table, we can manifest food on the table. So things that appear like miracles to us in the current dimension will become like a normal part of reality once the pole shift occurs and once the dimensional merger takes place until 2033. However, people who are still stuck in the old ways, there will be certain group of people that still stay in the vibration of fear, and they will also be kind of living in the fourth dimension, but they will create a third dimensional reality of fear just based on their thoughts, because they will not believe that we're in the fourth dimension. They will not believe that this shift is taking place, and they will only create what they're vibrating. So they will it'll be like a self-fulfilling prophecy of destruction for them, because they will continuously be in fear, and because of that fear, their reality will support that. They will draw events into their life that make them more fearful. So this is really a wake-up call. This has been, if you look at the prophecies of Canada, of all the ancient tribes of Canada, United States, Mexico, Yucatan, Mayans, indigenous of Australia, all over the world, the same prophecy can be found in ancient texts over and over and over. And it says that a certain group of people will literally depart from this planet, and we are not to be attached to that group of people, because they have chosen to exit as a mass consciousness because they can no longer tolerate the changes that are coming. But whoever is left on this planet, the people who are deciding to make positive changes in their life and live in harmony with spirituality and the laws of nature and the laws of one and the laws of this universe, such people will make the dimensional shift, and we will all go into unity consciousness very quickly, and we will all become one rainbow tribe. So all people of the world will become we will live like brothers and sisters. The countries, the separations, the borders, the hatred, the violence will no longer exist. And this will also be accelerated because of the rainbow children that are already amongst us. So if you pay attention to the children that are being born right now, these children are coming in with a very high level of consciousness. And these are known in the ancient prophecies as the rainbow children. And these rainbow children are literally not going to be human. They may look human, they may look like you and I, but the coming generation, within a decade, the babies that will be born will literally be higher dimensional beings in human form. And they will become our teachers. And they will make this society jump into unity consciousness in a very fast way. So all of this is coming, and we have enough time. We have the next decade to prepare, and all we need to do is learn how to harmonize our fear. We need to learn how to live in balance, harmony, and gratitude with ourselves and our planet. We need to take active steps to remove any toxic elements from our life, like any parts of your diet, like meat, dairy, anything that basically puts toxins in your body is not going to be helpful. So we recommend drinking clean, pure waters. We recommend eating a pure vegetarian diet as much as possible. We recommend breathing exercises. We recommend meditation. We recommend exercise for your body. We recommend, most of all, purifying your thoughts. Do not live in the vibration of fear. And this is going to become more of an uphill battle for people who are glued to their TV sets. But people who are tuned into turning off their TV sets and tuning into nature are going to be the ones who thrive, because we are going to be able to clear our minds of fear and live in harmony with our inner nature, with our spirit, which is pure love. And when you uncover all the layers of toxicity, you'll realize that you are pure love and pure bliss within. There's nothing else within your soul. And you are one with this planet. You are one with God. And this inner realization comes when we make positive changes in our life, and we make tangible steps to live in harmony with this planet. So I hope this message helped you, and I hope that you take this time to honor yourself, honor your family, honor your loved ones, and live in harmony with the planet, and don't go into fear. Everything's going to be okay. We are all here to make the shift, and we are going to make it. And a beautiful, beautiful time of unity consciousness, of oneness, of togetherness awaits us, and it's just around the corner. Take care, everyone. Until next time.